Namaste, dosto. Welcome back to Crash Cultural. Today we're gonna watch a video.
Called Ancient Indian Sages were
The
the first
first-
scientists. Okay, let's go. Seems interesting.
Let's go to see him.
Differentiate between sages and scientists. Our scientists were sages, our sages were scientists. Because we don't have a religious tradition, we only have spiritual cultures. Scientists and sages and mathematicians, sages and musicians, sages and astronomers, all same people. 3600 years ago, in a document called Surya Siddhanta, which now is becoming popular because of English translations and stuff, they have calculated the speed of light just almost to a microsecond of what the modern calculations are. There are drawings which are probably paintings on the walls where clearly the earth is going around the sun on the back of a turtle. There's a turtle walking, on top of it is a round globe. I don't think rest of the world even imagined the planet is round at that time.
Say yes.
Trillions of these organisms that live inside of us and how they communicate with
What
the
is
world
inside?
around us.
Most people don't realize
The
the body
human?
that we carry
I think, yes.
is just the same soil that we walk upon.
I find it fascinating that the same concept applies to the soil, to the plant, and to humans, and the microbes are a very good translator of that story.
Lack of micronutrients and psychological imbalances and lack of mental faculties developing are very, very directly connected.
Even the microbes hear your brain because they have receptors like for dopamine, for norepinephrine, for the stress mediator.
This is an argument more difficult for me, but we have interesting.
Change their gene expression, their behavior based on what goes on in your brains.
When we eat something, we must eat that kind of food which in terms of species is furthest away from us. Like eating all my organisms, because my life has been like this last 40 years. On an average, I'm doing 800 to 1,000 or 1,100 events per year. So that's almost entire living day, almost every day. So if these guys don't cooperate, I don't think I could be sitting for hours in one place. 40 years, thanks to all of them. You must tell about my pets.
I've always struggled in terms of my main focus in life on a spiritual, traditional healing viewpoint and the hard science. And I think we really see this convergence now between the cutting edge of many areas of science with the spiritual tradition and this thousands of years of experience. I asked you before, where did it come from? So where did this, how did people in India 3,000 years ago come up with concepts that today, after millions of dollars of investment in research, and we're still not quite there. We're still struggling. How did sages in India come up with that, or scientists?
One important thing is we did not differentiate between sages and scientists. Our scientists were sages, our sages were scientists. Because we don't have a religious tradition, we only have spiritual cultures. And spiritual culture does not mean that it is one kind of…
I imagine you practice this. You have a mentality open.
Yeah, definitely. Also
And-
open, quiet,
Exactly.
patience.
In this the moment, you have the idea most simple, most regular about the people don't practice this.
Yeah.
For me.
behavior
agree.
or one kind of scripture or one kind of moral code or something like this. Each person can develop their own spiritual culture if they want. It is
Yeah.
out of this that
True.
millions of pathways open up. Essentially, a
You can choose
spiritual
the way you prefer.
Exactly.
culture means
Oh, you read my mind.
You want to like to do
Yes.
it to say it.
certain way
Wow.
of exploration, a certain way of seeking. Every human being can seek in their own way. If they don't know, they can seek guidance in a particular way. We're not against both. Both are fine. If you don't know, you use the GPS.
Yeah.
If you know the way home, drive by yourself. Some people get lost in America going home, you know.
Me.
Really?
Yesterday we
you?
were following the GPS and it made us turn into the one-way street, everybody honking. Oh, we're going the wrong way, but the GPS is telling us, go, go.
Really?
So, one who's not figured out their own way will stick to some established pathway. Others can figure out. So, the most important thing is, which I feel the scientists and the educated class and the universities should create is, in the Indian culture or this culture that we call as the Hindustan or Bharat,
Hindustan.
there is no such thing as a heretic. That is, if there is an established way in one place, if somebody is doing something different, everybody is excited about it. Nobody is thinking how to have him crucified or burnt or something like this, because the basic ethos in the culture is everyone must seek. So out of this, even when so-called divine entities appeared, when we say divine entities, over a period of time, people get haloed, all right. But when they were there, they lived life, they bore children, they fought wars, they did everything, they were normal people, but they rose above everybody else out of their competence, out of their vision, out of their
Exactly, the
insights.
competence.
They rose above everybody. But looking at how they rose beyond the times in which they lived, after a long time we all say, this is a divine entity. So we must understand because in English language these are the words, so I'm using those words. When we say a divine entity, we are not saying he came down from somewhere. See, for example, in recent times, probably you know nothing about cricket, you're from California. Though both start with C. In India, C means cricket. It's a game. So, in recent times, there has been a particular player who rose beyond anything that anybody would have thought is possible. He broke all records that were there for over 100 years. So in India, we said he's a cricketing god.
Cricketing god.
It's very appropriate to our culture. If somebody excels beyond a certain limit that we think is human limit, then we say he is divine, he is exalted. Essentially, the Indian word, probably a more appropriate word, is an exalted being. He is risen above normal strata of those times. So in this sense, even when those people came, nobody could give us a commandment, because Indians are questioning people, endless questions they have, and endless opinions they have. If there are 5 Indians, there will be 10 opinions.
Imagine, yes.
They will sit and argue with each other, against each other and against themselves.
I say this, you don't say
Because
this.
this is a culture which has encouraged questioning, never encouraged obedience. But at the same time, very respectful, just because I don't agree with you, I never think that, something must be done to you. Because I think always it has been inculcated, there are a million ways
This is a nice thing.
Exactly.
to look at the same thing. This is why every
Everybody have
teacher
their
is
opinion.
respected. Because, it's not scientific parlance. I'm saying my grandmother would say, if a little grasshopper is hopping, children want to smash it or do something. So, no, you don't know where he's going, what he's doing. You don't do that. You don't like him, leave him outside. You don't crush him, all right? You just leave him because you don't know who he is. Maybe he's a sage, maybe he's a seer, maybe it's God.
You don't
Up and
say.
down. You don't touch him, all right? So this sense of acceptance to everything, we don't know. What the grasshopper knows, you don't know. In many ways, he knows a lot about life than most human beings know. He knows his life perfectly well. It's only human beings who don't know what to eat, how to shit, nothing they know. All other creatures have figured out these things very well. So, this kind of openness allowed this. So we never separated our sages and scientists. Scientists and sages and mathematicians, sages and musicians, sages and astronomers.
All the same
thinking.
people.
Exactly.
Because there were no telescopes, there were no microscopes, there were no other outside instrument. The only instrument is this one.
Oh.
Evolving this to a place where this can see everything that it
Wow,
can
I
see.
love this man. He's so...
The man is so very,
Yeah, I love
very
it.
interesting.
It'll be probably in this kind of a university, you should know, but unfortunately you do not know. Over 3,600 years ago, in a document called Surya Siddhanta, which now is becoming popular because of English translations and stuff, they have calculated the speed of light just almost to a microsecond of what the modern calculations are. I'm saying nearly there are drawings which are probably paintings on the walls, which must be over at least 1000 BC, where clearly the earth is going around the sun. On the back of a turtle. There's a turtle walking, on top of it is a round globe. I don't think the rest of the world even imagined the planet is round at that time. A round earth on the top of a turtle's back and going around the sun. Why a turtle is, it's the most appropriate animal to carry the earth because a turtle cannot accelerate suddenly. It goes at the same
Yeah,
It's not
he's the
fast.
same speed.
So they are depicting the movement of the earth like the walk of a turtle. It's
Really?
just going around and around the sun.
Ah,
Right.
This is
nice.
over 1000 BC.
So,
Nice question.
So, about the biome, in the Jain texts, which are right now identified as about 6th century BCE, they're talking about something called as a Niguda. They're saying Niguda means essentially
Niguda.
almost non-existent beings. They're saying tiny lives are all over us, inside us, outside us, everywhere.
Ah.
Tiny lives are all over. So the biggest presence on the planet is these tiny lives. I thought they're talking about your science, so.
Did you know you can decalcify your pineal gland?
Okay, guys, the video is finished.
We talk at the same time. Sorry.
Exactly. We are
I really
twins.
appreciate this man and his talks because I think that I'm keen on spirituality.
Good person,
Spirituality
this
discussion.
man. This man have a good person.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
this.
It's true what he said about the sage and the sciences are the same person.
Exactly.
Or musicists, astronomy, everything. And I think that is right that we have to listen to spiritual things and we can do it in our way, in how we would prefer.
Every people have a culture inside.
No, I think that they have own
You
culture,
have a culture
own
for you.
talks. Yeah, but I think that
For
it's
me,
nice.
is another culture.
Yeah, it's nice having a person like this or person with open mind, definitely, because it's so important. I think that people next to you are the person who sorry, who you
Okay.
meet so very times, etc. And you have to be with positive people, with open mind people, because you can always change your talks in a better way.
Exactly. Good question.
Okay, guys,
Okay,
thank you
guys.
for watching until this. Make sure to
Thank
subscribe.
you,
Let us know
thank
in the
you.
comment what you think about it.
Thank
See
you
you
so
soon.
much.
Thank you
See
for
you
the
soon.
support.
Bye
Namaste.
bye.